Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Foga Del Rio. Now, before I actually came up with this thumbnail, I did do a bit of research about Rio de Janeiro and fog. Kind of thinking that this is a reference to it. And whilst, during the summer months it might have a bit of fog, it's certainly not exactly known for it compared to a place like San Francisco, where it's basically every evening. Pretty much every sunset there you'd have fog covering the entire Bay Area. So I've taken a literal interpretation here, as in Rio being Portuguese for river, I believe. Could be Spanish as well. Actually, not sure if it's one or both. And went with fog over the river, which Sleuth here is admiring, as you can see, and there's a bit of fog just by the banks of the river there. If you haven't guessed it already, this particular puzzle is all about fog. And it's another from Megan 033's series in kind of town-based ones, which is hence the thought about Rio de Janeiro. I think Latin America is... Okay, Australia, of course, is its own continent, but I think these two are basically the only two we haven't really traveled to. We spent a lot of time between North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, not counting Antarctica, although some of you may have adventured there. Love to go at some point. Anything else to mention before we take a look at today's puzzle? I think I've caught it reasonably early. It's got 600 solves, which is early by Megan 033's standards. But hopefully you guys haven't seen this puzzle somewhere else. Let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets with Foga Del Rio by Megan 033 and the following set of rules. Quite a funky symbol there. Kind of reminds me of the papal symbol. Okay. Normal Sudoku rules apply, means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column and every 3x3 box. Digits along a magenta renban form a set of consecutive non-repeating digits in any order. So if this cell is a 2, for example, the following cells would have to be, let's say, 1, 3, 4, so that it forms a consecutive set of 1, 2, 3, 4. I could also make it 3, 4, 5, for example. That would also be allowed. What I couldn't do is do 2, 3, 4, 6. That's no longer a consecutive set. Now, in this particular case, the renban is all in the same box, so clearly no repeats, but renbans can obviously span rows, columns, and boxes. But remember, it's a consecutive set without any repeats. Digits along each arrow must sum up to the digit in the circled cell. So if this cell is a 2, let's say, and this is a 5, these two cells add up to 7. That would have to be inside in the circle attached to that arrow. These two cells are also something that would sum up to whatever this value is. A black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2 to 1 ratio. So if this is a 2, this would have to be 1 or 4, so that essentially one cell is double the other. A white dot between cells indicates cells with consecutive values. If you imagine this wasn't black, this was white, that would be 1 or 3, so that it is consecutive. Not all dots are given, so a 4 in here, no black dot, a 3 in here, no white dot, all of which would be allowed under today's rules. Cells with a filled circle must be odd. I can see one here, so this would have to be from 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9, so that it is an odd digit. We don't see the green German whisper line, so that's the last one, but the obvious statement is the grid is partially covered with fog, and correctly placed digits will clear the fog around that cell, and no guessing is required. So if that too was correct, all of these cells which surround it and are covered in fog would be revealed, and hopefully gives us some more clues to allow us to continue with the solve. Now, last but not least, somewhere inside this fog is a green line that does something as follows. I have no idea where it is. We're going to uncover it later, hopefully. And the idea is that adjacent digits along a green German whisper line must have a distance of at least 5. So if that's a 2, the neighboring cells would have to be 7, 8, or 9, so that they are indeed 5 or more away. This cell now would have to be 1, 3, or 4, can't repeat a 2 in here, to be 5 or more away. And you oscillate back and forth between high digits, 6, 7, 8, 9, low digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, and no 5s. So that's all the rules we have for today. As always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how... I didn't mean to click that button first, so excuse the fact that the timer is going to be a little bit off. So I'll tell you something, I'm actually thinking about 9s. Strangely. You see, if the 9 can never be on an arrow, so it's none of these cells, can't be on a black crop dot, so it can't be on these cells. If it's on the renban, well, the renban would have to be 6, 7, 8, 9, which is actually possible. For a second, I thought that's not possible. I just thought that these cells have to be a high digit, but notice that the renban carefully avoids the arrows. So technically, I could do something like 4, 5, and then like 1, 2, 3. In fact, the 3 in here with the 6. So actually, yeah, ignore everything I've just said. It may actually be possible. Right, how do I think about this? Maybe it's the black crop dot that we should be thinking about. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. That's all the black crop dot cells. Now, whatever cell is on here, so, for example, that can never be a 1. If that's 1, that's 2, then how do I make a consecutive set of 1, 2, 3, 4 without the 2? So that can never be 1. If that's 8, that's 4. I think that's actually maybe okay. And then I could have 5, 6, 7, 8, or 6, 7, 8, 9. Doesn't feel like it would work. So if it's 6, 7, 8, 9, well, that 4 is in trouble, surely. Even if it's 4, 8, that would have to be 5, that would have to be 1, that would be 2, that would be 3, which doesn't work because of the odd digit. And if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, remember 4 and 8, and there's no 5, so that wouldn't be the 9 because the 5 wouldn't be here. It would be on the renban. So that would have to be the 9. I'm just going to try and remember this. 5, 6, 7. Also, it doesn't feel like it's going to work, by the way, but I'm just going to be thorough. And I said that can't be the 9 because that can't be 5, so that would be the 9. Then essentially I have 1, 2, 3. And yeah, that's never going to happen. Long story short, that was a very long story. I'm pretty convinced that can't be a 9. Sorry, an 8. It was never going to be a 9. And we're limited now to 2, 3, 4, 6. Just gonna, like, this feels that there should be a more elegant approach to this, but I just can't see it. So if this is 2 and this is 1, notice it can't be 4 because I would run out of consecutive digits in here, 3, 4, 5. And then this would have to be, well, it's not 1, 3, or 5, and it can't be on a 9, so that would have to be 7, and then I've broken it again, because 1 and 2 are not available. That's not ever going to be big enough. So I don't think I can make 2 work, and obviously the other case of 2 and 4, well, I have 1 and 3, but what about 4 now? Can't make that work. So 2 is off the table. 3, 6 feels quite natural to me, so like I'm going to come to that last. I'm going to see if I can eliminate the 4 for a second. So if that's 4, that's 2 or 8. Let's just try the 8 for a second. That would have to be 1, that would have to be 9. Without the 1, 2, 3, 5 is the absolute minimum, and then I'm left with 6, 7. And then the 6 would have to be here, the 7 would there. I think that wouldn't work. What if I try something else? What if I don't go with 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5? So if I go for 3, 4, 5, 6, so this is 3, 5, 6. I'm left with 2 and 7. That's not going to work either. And I think it almost doesn't matter what I try here now. That would be 2, that would be 3. That also doesn't work. and then amount of digits. So 4, 8 doesn't work. Why am I placing, yeah, because of the A, that forces the 1, okay. So 4, 8 doesn't work. 2 feels very restricted once again. Where would the 1 go? Well, it couldn't be on the renban. It would have to be in one of these two cells. Four, 5, 6, 7. So 8 and 9 are not on here. So 8 and 9 are somewhere else. Now the 9 can't be in any of these cells, so the 9 would be up here. The 8, technically, I can make it here with a 1. Let's think about this. If this is 3, so I've explored the extreme, but let's try the other way. 3, 5, 6, and 4. No 1s, of course. What happens here? Well, I still have 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, 1, and 9. So that would be a complete set. Then I'm in trouble, aren't I? Can't make this work. Even if I leave the maximum digits 8 and 9 in here, and this is 1, 7. No, it does work. Ooh, that does work. Essentially, this would be the 9. That would be the interesting. That does work. The 8. So 2, 4 works. I'm going to keep a note of that. I can make it work, let me put it that way. I haven't tried a lot of other iterations, so I'm not actually sure that this is all the options. So 3, 6 in here means that, admittedly, I could 6, 7, 8, 9, so I don't have to place the 9 inside the circles. But, and this of course could be 3, so I don't actually know. So 1 and 2 are not here. And I can't place them on the arrow because that would require a 3 sum, which doesn't work. It's not available. So the 2 at a minimum would have to be on here, which would require the 3 to be on here. So that would have to be 3. The 2 would have to be on here somewhere. Now, do I have to put, I mean, I would have to put the 4 as well somewhere again. Now, the question is whether it's 1 or 5. Now, the 9 can't be anywhere in here. And in fact, it can't be at this end because that can't be 3. So this has to be 9. And the fact that this would have to be 1, surely, because if I go with something bigger, I'm in trouble. And that would be 7, and that would be 8. So that doesn't work because that's an odd digit and it's even. So I don't think 3, 6 works. All incarnations of it. So, I quickly dismissed the 6, 3, but, notice what I meant by that. So 1 and 2 can't be here because I'm not going to be able to get any 2 digits to add up to 1 or 2 without any repeats. And therefore, and I can't hide both of them on the arrows as an off the renban to add up to 3 because it's not available. So at a minimum, I would have to have one of them on here. Let's say with the 2, I can't get to it without the 3. And then I think I've fairly conclusively proven, same challenge, no 1, 2, can't place both of them on the arrow. I could place one of them on the arrow, like the 1, for example, but forget that for a second. So I definitely have to have the 2 on. Even if I have the 1 on, doesn't matter. I have to have a 4, and then there's a question mark about the 1 and 5. But then this 6 needs to add up to something that is a single digit. And if I place a 1 in here, the next small digit is 5, and that would be 11. So that would have to be the 1. That would create a 7. And then I'm left with 8 and 9, which adds up, but this is odd. So, long story short, this is forced. Now, without the 2, there's a question mark as to whether the 3 is on, but 5 and 6 are definitely on, and then it's either one of or both of, no, not both of, one of 3 or 7. So that's a complete pencil mark of the renban. Now, 5 and 7 are gone. So this is 1 or 3. Can't be 9 on the arrow to be an odd digit. Now, if it's 3, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because that would be 5, 6, 7. The 1 would have to be here, and then it breaks, because that would have to add up to 4, which is not available. So essentially, that couldn't be a 3. That would have to be the 1, which means there's still a 3, 7. In fact, the bigger digits, 8 and 9, are clearly at the end of these renbans, aren't they? And then this is 3, 7. And then I made it work with 1, 7, 8, 2, 7, 9, meaning no 7. Now, why am I quick to jump to the fact that this is the 3, 7 and these are the 8, 9s? Well, I can't make that 8 because that would be 10, and then I can't make that 9, that would be 11. So yeah, that is 8, 9. That is 3, 7. And then to make these work to add up to 8 and 9, this has to be 7, which means these are 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this has to be the 1, this has to be the 8, and this has to be the 9. And there's our break-in. It is entirely forced. I'm genuinely curious if there's a more mathematically elegant way for some of these break-ins. Like, I feel like exhaustively going through all the options works, but I don't know if it's the most efficient route. Right, German whisper lines, we don't know what these are. We know that they oscillate between high digits, which I don't know which one it is, and low digits. For now, will suffice with purple and orange. Now, low digits here, 3 of them, can't make both of these 3. So purple has to be high, orange has to be low. Now, technically, these could be 1, 2, 3, 4, except this one isn't. And this could be 4. This could be a double 9. And then I could do 9, 8, 7. Actually works quite well. Same in here. I could do a double... No, I couldn't do a double 9 because of this 9. So that can't be a 4 either. Now, regardless of what this is, at a minimum, it would be surrounded by 1 and 2. So these have to be from 7, 8, and 9. And this can't be 9, and this can't be 8. These, however, can actually be 6s. With the white crop key dots, let's have a think about this for a second. I mean, I do get away with like 6, 5, 4. And then these two cells would have to add up to 4. So that wouldn't be, that would be 1, 3. And down here would be a 1. So that wouldn't be the 1, that would be as such. So that actually does work on this side. It doesn't here because of this white crop key dot, because it has to be a consecutive set. And in fact, because it is a consecutive set, it means one of them is odd, one of them is even. Otherwise, they can't be consecutive. You sum up odd and even, they have to come up to an odd digit. Now, it's at least 2 different numbers, so it's not going to be 1. It can't be 3 because I can't get to 6 here. It could be 5 and it could be 7. And then I have to get creative with how to... Right, of course, because this is 5 or 7. This will be even. This will be odd again. So this is 7 or 9. If it's 9, it's 8 and then 7. If it's 7, it could be 8 or it could be 6 to get down to 5 or back up to, well, it couldn't be 7 again. 7, 6, 5. 7, 8, can't be 9 because of this 9. Fair enough. Now that means there has to be a 3. It's essentially 2, 3, or 4. So it's either 2, 3 to be consecutive and add up to 5, or 3, 4 to add up to 7. Fascinating so far. This is another odd digit that isn't 7, isn't 3. So this would have to be 1, 5, or 9. Now, if it's 1, the consecutive digit here would be 2. If it's 5, the consecutive digit is not 4, it would be 6. And for 9, it's obviously an 8. Now, sadly, all of them are allowed. Thing is, I'm doing a bit of a tour, pencil marking all of these, but I'm not seeing how to move forward, if I'm honest. This cell here, I did say I can make it work with 6, didn't I? I maintain that still. I mean, I'm going to have to think about this. So 9, 8, 7. Let's think about this actually. So 9, 8, 7 would force this to be 7, 6, 5. Would force this to be 2, 3. Without 2 or 3, this couldn't be 3, 4, couldn't be 2, 5. It would have to be 1, 6. Which seemingly works. And you know, there's nothing being forced all the way down here. So this is not great. This is like first attempt, it works straight away. Now 8 couldn't go to 9 and then 10, so that would have to descend. That would have to be 7, that would have to be 6. And then it has no impact on what these digits are. And this side would have to be 1, 5 or 2, 4. Now it couldn't be 2, 4 because I'm using one of them in here. So it would have to be 1, 5. And then that would be 9 and that would be 8. What I'm amazed by though, hang on, so the 6 wouldn't be here, the 6 would be there, which would make this an 8, which would make this 9, 7, 3, 4. I'm not seeing the problem. Oh, hang on, this doesn't work at all. Look at that 7. Sleuth, come on. So that never worked. Let me just double check that these interactions were fine. I think the answer to that is yes, because really these are not really interacting. Actually, that 8 becomes 6. That would be 6. That would be 5. Yeah, that works fully. We dismiss the 8 because that couldn't be 7. What about 7? Now, it couldn't be 7, 8, 9 because, again, of that 9. So it would have to descend. It will go 7, 6, 5. And then I'm probably in trouble here. Because you see, the 3 means I can't use 2, 3. So I'd have to use 1, 4. And then because that's a 5, that would be 7. That has to be 3, 4. So I've broken the puzzle. So 7 doesn't work. Last option that seemed to work earlier, 6, 5, 4. And then because this is a 6, this would have to be 1. So that would be the 1, that would be the 3. And therefore this couldn't be, this doesn't work because there's a 3. So this is actually forced again with 9, 8, 7, 1, 6 pair, no 1. 7 in here means that's 5, 6, 7. That's not a 3. That could be 4. And then this has to be 2, 3 pair. That can still be 5 or 9. That clearly can't be a 2 anymore. No 6s, so that's a 3, 5 pair. And that is a 6, which gives me 8, 9. Lovely. And then a 5-cell renban. So if that's 1, I'm pretty sure I've broken it. Because essentially, well, this would have to be 1, this would have to be 2, and then I could do 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, it does work. If this is 6, where does 7 go without being on the renban? So it doesn't work. So that can't be 6. That's 1, that's 6. And therefore, I can't have a 3 in here, otherwise the 2 would be on the renban without it. So 2, 3. Then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just having a look down here, I'm like, maybe not worth it actually, just ignore this for now. Can I resolve any of these? Seemingly not. 1 or 2, 7 or 8, 1, 2, 3. Maybe worthwhile kind of thinking about what these are. Yeah, they're 1, 2, 3, 5. Not very useful. In here, no 9, 8, or 7. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't have a 9 here. Can't have a 9 on an arrow. That's got to be a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. This feels like it's going to be an 8, given 5, 6, and 7 are gone. But realistically, I could do something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. What about these cells? Let's just think about what these are. So this is 3, 5, 8, and 6. No 6 here. 3 works. 8 I'm sure I could make work. Can I make work? No, because 1, 7, 2, 6, and 3, 5 are all gone. That doesn't work. So if it's 3, it's 1, 2. I mean, doesn't matter. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't be higher than 5. And by the looks, oh, hang on, 5. Sleuth, come on. Thank you. 5, 6. In here is another 1, 2, and 4. No 4s in here. To get to 6, I mean, all of these seemingly work. So this is maybe not the best to look at. This arrow is not entirely visible. Again, not the best to look at either. Not a lot of good options, to be fair. In terms of what goes next. Excuse me. So, I mean, that can't be 1, because that's not going to be able to add up to 5 or 6. So this is 2 or 4. Now, if it's 6, it's 2, 4. And it can't be 4, so it would have to be this order, 4 and 2. If it's 5, because that can only be 2, 4. Yeah, it can't be 3 and it can't be 1, we said. So I could make 4 and 1 work. I could also make 2 and 3 work. So that's a full pencil mark now for this 5, 6. Not sure I've gained anything there. 3, 5 in here, not very useful. So 1 and 2 are not here, which means 1 and 2 are down there. Now this could be from 3 all the way to, say all the way to, it's just 3, 5. And then down here is 1, 2, and a 3 or 5. Okay. So in here, I need a 4 somewhere, another 3, 5, a 6 and 7. Not really the place to go for. Right, 1, 2, and 3. So if this is low, this would have to be 4, this would have to be 9, and this couldn't be 3, it would have to be 1 or 2. So that's if this is high, low, this is forced as such. Then we end up with a 1, 2 pair. 9 would be down here. It would end up being 4, 9. And this would be 8. Interesting. Okay, all of which works. Right, the other option is these two are high and this is low. And it couldn't be low because 1, 2, 3 means that would be 4 and then I would require a double 9. So this is forced. Kind of hard to spot unless you literally are testing the grid basically. That couldn't be 1, 2 because I've already got one here and the 3 is there. So then there's another 1, 2 which is actually in here because this 1, 2 can't be there. Then I have 5, 6, 7. The 6 is obviously in here. That's the only way to make them join anyway. And then there's a 5, 7 in there. And then on the other side, I have 5, 7, 8 with a definite 8. Now 8 in here doesn't work because I can't have 9. And then it would require 7 and 6, but 6 isn't available. So that can't be the 8. That is the 8. 7, I think I have the same problem, don't I? Yeah, because 8 and 6 surrounding cells are not available, so that would be 5, and this would have to be 3, 4 because 6 is not available. 5 in here gave me a 6 there, a 5 there. That means this is 2, 4. That's 4, that's 2. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. I know what this is, 1. 4 in here gave me 3 and 4. All looking good so far. Notice the 6 are kind of dismissed. There's 1 in here. In fact, 5 and 6 can't be this cell. That's 5, 6, which means that's a 3, which means that's not a 3. And this is 1, 2, 5. I don't need the corner pencil marks anymore. And then this is 4 and 7. Not sure I can figure out what it is just yet. And this is 7. This is 1, 2, 9. That can't be 9. That can't be 2. That can't be 1. That's not 4. So down here is 1, 2, 3, 5 by the looks of things. 5s are lining up, meaning there's a 5 in here somewhere. There's another 1, 9. Yeah, this is, like, I mean, there's so little to go on. I don't know why I'm even thinking about it. Just move on. 1, 2, 5. Not resolved. How are these not resolved so far? Trying to think what these could be. So essentially it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The only thing it isn't is a 5. Everything else, yeah, tricky. I mean, 8 is in here. That's it. And 9 is in there. And then I have a floating 3, 4, 6, 7. We kind of dismissed this arrow earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have. Let's think about that a bit. So what are these cells? Let's think about that. We need an 8. I mean, that would be 8. That would have to be 1. And then we'd have to have a 9 in one of these two cells, which isn't possible. So there isn't an 8 here. So 8 is in one of these two cells. So it's 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is actually 5, 6, or 7, which is like quite a large figure. And notice how I struggled with the 8 because it would have been 1, and then one of these two cells would have been 9. You can see the arrow could go down here, could go there in terms of the circle. It feels very much like a 2-cell arrow given the size of these and the lack of 9 down here. But I could do a bunch of options, can't I? I think I could. Now, that couldn't be a 5. So essentially, if these are 5, 6, 7, and 8, no, because the arrow could be here. Could it? Yeah, I could do 5, 2, 7. That's fine as well. So yeah, I can absolutely have a 5 here. No, I can't because corner pencil marked it here. I can basically say this is 6, 7, 8. And because I don't know that this is the circle, I'm not sure I can really do much more than that right now. Now it feels very much like the one, actually it is going to be in here, isn't it? No, again, this could be the circle, this could be the 1, 2. If this is a 1, 2 pair, I could make this 3, I could make this 5, 3, 8, and get away with it. And this is 6, 7. So I can't even force this to be the other 1, 2 pair in box 9. But I can place 1, 2, or 3 in here. I feel reasonably confident about that. I can't make 4 work because it'll be 5, 4, and then I can't get to 9. And 4 is not available, neither is the 9. I don't know why I'm making this hard for myself. And because this is 5, 6, 7, I can't cross to the 9 because I'd pick up at least 5 and 6, which is 11. So yeah, this is definitely a 2-cell arrow with a circle in one of these cells. So we know 1, 2, 3 is here. We know that's not a 4 because of the 4, 9. We know that one of these is a 4. That's the 4. Then I have a 2, 9 in here with a 6. There's another arrow in here, which is interesting. What is that telling me? I have 7 and 8 in here with 1 or 9. That can't be 1. So this is 7, 8, or 9. Can't see anything about the arrow peeking around. Is that 5, 6, 7? No. Because, oh yeah, because this is 8 or 9. This is not 5 or 6. And it's not 1, 2. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. This is another 7, 8, 9. Which gives me a 7, 8, 9 triple. That can't be 7. And this has to be 5, 6. I can lose the corner pencil marks. And because this is 5, 6, seven, 8 pair, and then 5, 6 at the top. Because yeah, it's 5, 6, 7, 8. This can't be 5 or 6. So yeah, it is 7, 8. That's 5 or 6. I need the corner pencil marks here either. 5 or 6 plus 1, 2, or 3, jumping almost certainly at this point now, because this is another 1, 2, 3 to complete the box. And this can't be the circle. This has to be the circle. And I can make any of these work to get to 7 or 8. Right. One, 2 pair means that's 3. That's 9. That was probably there ages. That's not 9. 1, 2, 5. Ooh. Well, I mean, that can't be 5 given how small this is. That's not 5. That's a 1, 2 pair. That is a 5. That's not the 5. That is the 5. So this would have to be 3 or 4 to make sure that they do add up to 5. 1, 2, 3. I mean, we'll think about that in a second. 1, 2 here means, I mean, and 3 or 4 actually more interestingly means at best I have 4 and 6. Or I have 5, 6, 7. There's a definite 6 in here, which kind of helps. That means that's a 6. To get to, so I mean, remember, I had a 1 somewhere in this column. That 1 can't possibly add to whatever this is, 2, to get to 7, 8, or 9. So that's the only place for a 1. That's 2, that's 9. That's 2, that's 1. And this is, of course, 7, 8, 9. Can't be a 9. 1 plus 7 or 8 to get to 8 or 9. 1 in here, and actually 1, 2, means that's a 3. That's not a 3. That is indeed the arrow that we predicted. Oh, hang on. 7, 8 means there's no 7 there. That's a 4, 6 pair. That's 3, that's 2, that's 1, 2. This is another 7, 8, isn't it? Just to complete the box. So that's 7, 8 in the column, which means that's 4, that's 7. That 5, 6 is not known. How is it not known at this point? Yeah, it is known. 5, 3, 6, 5, 4, 6. This could be either, because the German whisper line isn't helping, but that's fine. 7, 8, 7, actually that 4 more interesting. That's a 9, that's a 4. And that 2 gave me 1 and 2. 1. Can't be a 5 anymore. That has to be 6, 7, and I think we're done. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's a 5 for the finish. A much longer solve than I was expecting. Not quite the approachable puzzle that I look for Monday morning, but I kind of snap up the fog puzzles from Megano33 as soon as I see them. As soon as I see them, and their difficulty rating is appropriate because I'm not going to put a 2-star difficulty rated one for a weekday. But another fantastic puzzle from Megano33. Like I said, I think I spent a lot of time, like 12 minutes before I broke into this. And in general, this was like very tight. I had to go through tons of options in every step of the way. So I am genuinely curious if there is a more elegant way to solve this. Let me know down in the comments if you found something. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.